So that's based on individual claims that occur here. So we're in a downward trend, which is wonderful to see. It's always a 3-year average, not including the current year backwards. And so next year we should see that drop again. So that's really good. And then we get to the back page. The coverages have renewed exactly as they were, other than some updates that were done on the property side. The auto policy is reviewed with each department to make sure that we have all the updated vehicles. We change those throughout the year, but we double check to make sure that all of it is current. Property values are increased by 2% to keep up with inflation, so that was done. And then your workers' comp was brought up to what the audited amounts were from last year, plus a 2% increase for any increases in payroll just for normal raises, if there are any, or additional staff members that may be added. So it just kind of helps to mitigate the audit from always coming back a lot higher. So as you can see, the liability did go up a little bit. Your employment practices liability increased a little bit. The auto went up a little bit. The property went up a little bit also. 2 reasons is the increase in values. That's just going to be a normal increase in premium. And then we did have a large property claim this year. So that affected that. The crime coverage decreased a little bit and your workers' comp went down. So even though we had an increase in payroll on the workers' comp, the rate did decrease because of that experience. So overall, your premium is a pretty flat as far as overall increase. It's just $2,000. So I felt pretty good about that amount based on those few larger claims that we had this year. So they did kind of cap some of those liability premiums from going up a little bit more. So, of course, the auto has all the new vehicles that have come in through the year and that sort of thing. So, really, it's pretty uneventful. We've had a pretty uneventful year overall.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions or?
And you can accept her quote tonight if you wanted to.
Right. Okay. They were okay with it.
I mean, you can see the summary of where we got 6 years history. And overall, over the 6 years, the premium has continued to go down, which is a good thing. We've had a little bit of fluctuation the last couple years, but overall, I think Bliss has been true to what they told us when we took the policy originally, is that they aren't going to be the company to increase, extreme or decrease extreme. They're going to hold a pretty steady line as long as, circumstances warrant it as far as claims and such. So I feel that they've been pretty good as far as that goes. And Mark is a valuable asset to us. Yeah. Unfortunately, this year, what has gone on has helped for the trading sessions, but we'll get back on track with that when everything opens up and you're ready to bring people from the outside in to meet with the employees.
I think it looks pretty good. Be less than $2,000 from last year. Increase. As much as you hate to say it, as bad as the economy is. What do you think?
I like it. Can you make a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Second, all those in favor? Aye.
All right, thank you very much. I will get all the paperwork and such to Rachel.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Joe Fisher. Yeah, please. Yeah, if you'd like to.
Hi.
Hi.
And as you know, I'm Joe Fisher, and I'm here to ask permission to use the courthouse lawn for process for the month of October. We placed them last year and I guess, they didn't ask the right department. It was supposed to be you and, Crystal gave me permission from a judge, I believe is what she said when she called me. But, we put the crosses at Marshall County Courthouse. And I decided to stretch out to Stark County, my son's work county. And it'd be my middle son, but he had suggested it. And so I called and got permission. They represent 4 women who die every day from domestic violence. And October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So that's why we put them out. And we're stretching out into Fulton County and Kosciuszko County this year too.
I'd be fine with it. I think we should probably ask the judge about it, make sure he's okay with it.
It was the circuit court judge, I believe, that gave permission last year. And I don't know why they asked. I mean, everybody does it differently. I found with Fulton County, it's a community director. And I think that was the same over in Kosciuszko County. In Marshall County, I have Mr. Overmeyer's cell phone number, and I just call him every year, and he just okays it. So it's a little different everywhere.
So I guess we would be fine with
I'd
it.
be fine with it.
I guess pending.
I can ask the
calls.
judge.
Okay. Yeah, find out, and if he's fine, then I guess if you want to get in contact with Rachel,
Sure.
she can let you know. So.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, last year they were on the southwest corner
Uh-huh.
of the courthouse. Do you remember
Yeah,
seeing them?
yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, I have a picture. I didn't know if anybody was interested in to see that. Actually, I think this is Marshall County, but it's,
Mhm.
they're not bad sized,
No.
but they're not huge.
Right.
So, yeah, and they have, ribbon on them, purple ribbon, and I think maybe some silver, because that represents, invisible illnesses which go along with that. So, I'm basically doing it in memory of my son now.
Yeah.
My foundation is under my son's name, Benjamin J.W. Fisher Memorial Foundation. He worked at traffic control specialist and he was killed last summer out on State Road 13 on the job. So, yeah. So, but our DBA is I'm my brother's keeper. That was his tagline when he ran for mayor in Plymouth. So, yeah. So anyway, and he was everybody's keeper.
Yeah.
He kept everything together. So, okay. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Okay,
I
thank
really appreciate that. Okay.
Just give me a call in a few days.
Okay. All right. Next week.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Well, that's
All right. Thank you, Rachel. Appreciate it. All right. Nice. I have it.
Thanks to the auditors on this. We can't afford that. No.
Okay, so here's our collection from O'Hara and small claims, and here's the total.
Total for collections is $569.11.
Okay, and then my report is pretty standard, but as you see, actually the number, and we have been doing a lot. People aren't coming more into the hospital, I don't think, but we're doing more transfers out. You know, we're not taking them, they're not calling us anymore, but as you see, we have 41% of our runs, of the total of the runs came through the hospital, which means they went from hospital to hospital, or hospital to back to a nursing home, or back to their resident, or whatever they need. So that's a pretty high percentage. That's what I think that's as high as we've ever gotten. I think it's 41 or maybe 42. But so that's a good thing for us that we do have those transfers. On the back side, you can see our revenue. Well, we had a huge revenue last August, which there was, I don't know if there's a lot of auto, who knows? I mean, it was just a big month. This month, as you can see, though, we have gone up from what we've been doing. We're still down on the revenue compared to last August, but our revenue is increasing. We are billing more, and we seem to be doing quite a few more runs. So just gotta, I mean, don't really want to hope for an increase, but I mean, the transfers do definitely help our revenue. Yes. So if you guys have any questions?
I think everyone's fine with that.
I think we
All right, so operations wise, our operations continue to run smoothly. We're looking into another protocol update. The newest protocol would be for our paramedics to start using push dose pressors, which we kind of talked about in our last audit review that we just had at Stark Hospital. Basically, it's Epi 1 to 10,000, which we already carry on the truck. It's going to be a lot easier to dose, and it would take the place of dopamine, so we could get rid of that and be cost savings as well. So it's easier for the medics to use again, and it takes the place of another drug, and we can eliminate that cost. So personnel-wise, I hired one more additional part-time paramedic. She begins her orientation phase at the end of this month. We continue to operate at a fully staffed service. Training-wise, we had our TCCC class last month, which was a success. The TCCC class was the military-based medic 2-day course. The staff really enjoyed it, and I believe we all learned quite a bit from the course. Tactical medicine and civilian medicine can be completely different, but in the hot zone, we need to kind of work as military medics at that point. So it was a great class to get hands-on with that. We obviously held our monthly audit review with Stark Hospital. We concentrated on more cardiac cases, and it's again the push dose pressors to try to elevate the blood pressure instead of the dopamine. We had several pediatric courses coming up. Pediatric Education for Pre-Hospital Professionals, which is the PEP class for basic and advanced providers. We'll also be working with LaPorte Hospital to hopefully get some of our ALS providers certified in neonatal resuscitation program. I held a CPR class for Golden Living Center here in Knox. We trained with Knox City PD and Stark County Sheriff's Department with canine training, and Dr. Lisa Booth from Vale Park Animal Hospital. She came to give us another update on the care for our canine officers if they become sick and injured. Again, we treat these dogs just like a regular officer. So we are able to treat those and even transport them if needed to the closest 24/7 hospital, which is in Westville. We also trained with Knox High School athletic trainer Maggie Long and the football team. We had a brief refresher on the packaging and football player and reviewed some of their new football equipment. Safety-wise, we had an injury-free month in August. Ambulance maintenance, we've been doing pretty well. 0514 though, the problem child lately, which is our Grovertown ambulance, received some brakes, rotors. It also had a DEF system issue. Ended up having to replace a mass airflow sensor and another sensor that caused the truck to go into DEF system limp mode. The brake and rotor work was performed at our county highway department. The DEF system issues were resolved at the Chevy dealer in Plymouth. 0086 went to our county highway department for a oil change. Base maintenance, we had no major base maintenance issues to report in the month of August. So that was it for my report. Any questions?
Great.
And then the ambulance as well, we looked into that as far as like the getting approval through the state. I know Rachel worked hard on that for us. I think we got approval through the state, correct? So we just need approval now to move forward with using the CARES Act funding.
Really,
Purchase.
beginning to wonder about all the diesel trucks with all the DEF systems and stuff. I'm beginning to wonder if we should go back to gas.
Well, that's kind of like.
Yeah, this would be for a 2021 Ford gas. The last ambulance that we purchased new was gas as well. We've had zero problems with it. We pay $30 at Ford Garage currently to get an oil change. That's the only thing we've had done 4 or 5 times now.
I know they always
The
say
DEF
they
is
last longer, which they do,
right,
but
The maintenance on
they're costing for it.
and it has to go to a dealer. I know Rick and I talked about it. The mechanics out there, they can't work on any DEF system related issues. So, you know, you're looking at $2,000 each time this truck goes in for DEF system issues, and that's a minimum. By the time they reset all the codes, clean out all the canisters, different things like that. So this would be a 2021 Ford gas engine, which we've had great luck with. I believe this one would be a 7.3, which is upgraded from our 2019 we got. But again, we've had zero issues. I think our current gas engine has about 22,000 miles on it. And it's ran perfectly. So again, just kind of looking for approval, I guess, to move forward with the CARES Act funding.
I can do it.
We need to find those, I think.
Aren't we like really tight on CARES Act right now?
We are, but the EMS department actually has a different grant fund. It's a CARES Provider Act fund, which they currently have $36,000 in right now. That money has to be spent on the EMS department, upgrading their equipment, or for COVID-related items. So I gave the commissioners a breakdown of, like, if we were to use that money, and there is potential that more money is gonna be coming into that too. So we may not have to pay anything out of the CARES that you're thinking of, that grant fund. But I don't know how much more money we're gonna get. But I gave the commissioners a breakdown, hypothetical scenario that if we use that money, you know, toward the ambulance purchase, how much they would have to pay out of the CARES fund. But yeah, at the last meeting, it was overspent. So they'll have to decide on a few things tonight, you know, what they're gonna fund and what they're not gonna fund. And it's really all hypothetical anyways, because like even the claims, I've submitted $331,000 of claims so far, and 25,000 has been approved. I don't know if the other stuff is gonna be approved or not until I get the approval email. So like if they don't approve a lot of it,
Rachel, the ambulance has been approved.
yeah, the ambulance,
Yeah, that's already
the ambulance and cots
It's all
happen.
for
Hey,
the-
Brad, the other thing is, you know, we only get a couple $100,000 to work with. We spend the whole $135,000 there. We're gonna have we're taking 36,000. Hopefully we use CARES Act. But if we take the whole 200, we don't have much to work with next year.
I think the ambulance total is 126,000.
Yeah, 126,439.
How much is the money?
What's that?
So that's like 90,000.
126,439. That does include graphics.
They
And it also gives our fourth GBC discount.
I got 135.
That's probably an estimate.
That was an estimate, so we got the
Well,
exact.
I'm glad you came down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
126,439. Yeah, so there's, another $9,000, I guess.
It's just the fact in the future, I guarantee we're gonna not be able to purchase.
Right. I think when we bought the 2019, the new Osage, it was is around 135, so I think that's what we went with. But again, using our Ford GPC discount, it's 4,600 off right there, and then we included back in the graphics, so it can be graphic right there at the shop. This current ambulance will be coming off the line here hopefully next week. So this was
I know it's a good opportunity, but you know what? Now in the future, like we did earlier with that one we got for like $40,000.
Yeah.
And
and that truck's had its issues too. That's for sure.
it's probably been a good ambulance too.
It's a used diesel, so we're talking about and it was the original, well, 2011, 2012, they started with the DEF system, so it's had quite a few DEF system issues. Yeah,
That's what I was worried about.
and it only has currently, I think it has 83,000 miles on it, so yeah, it's hopefully will last us a while, but I do like the gas engines. I think they're,
So that's the cost.
yeah, that's everything out the door. That's graphics and everything.
126.
126.
And we take the CARES money.
There's CARES Act money and there's a CARES provider relief, so we get money because they're an EMS
Right.
department. And I know
Since we bill Medicare.
Right.
yeah,
we are gonna get another set of money, definitely. I just don't know how much.
Right, yeah, and then remember, I was gonna look into that other one, like another set of money that has to be used for the ambulances.
So that's a $9,000 thing.
Not that.
We're looking at here.
Yeah, like I said, I think that must have been an estimate that we threw out one time.
You have to use the provider relief money toward EMS and toward supplies. I guess it just kind of depends on what you wanna buy, with it.
Sorry. Like we're taking that.
We're not gonna get this opportunity again.
It's true.
We're not gonna have it.
Right.
We need to do it.
And it is a big
There's gonna be
expense.
a motion for that.
We make the motion.
All right, well. Here it is. For the cost of 126.
Well, they take off 36.
I got it right here.
And I have
26,
136.
and the graphics pack. So the total would be 126,439.
That's with the 36.
No, you gotta take
No.
36 off of that.
They used our 4 GPC, but then we came back in with the graphics pack.
As I leave my purse in there.
It's completely decaled on the truck. It's ready to go.
Who does the graphics?
It's gonna be right here. at the company.
Yeah, well, we didn't think so either when Dad's quad got
The only
stolen out
other
of
thing
that
we do,
trailer
we
sitting
get
about right
vehicles
where that
in
car
white.
is,
We take down to like Sutton's and Francisville and.
before you were born.
They do really good work.
Yeah.
It's always better when
So
you
that's
get
going on the shop when they stole all the other stuff.
The first time, that was the second time it was stolen.
It's stolen twice.
Right. There's another one pending, we just don't know how much for sure. They haven't given us certain
percentage
amount
of revenue.
of our revenue.
They made that motion. I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Instead of eating junk, you need to be drinking one of these.
Good.
Recently retired one, it was a new sign truck, or an old sign ambulance was there. People have requested it. It's basically up to you guys, the board, the way that would go. The skill center has requested it and San Pierre Fire Department has requested
The commissioners already gave it to the skill center
Okay.
last meeting.
it. Okay, I didn't know
Or
that.
Brian and Kathy made a motion to give it to the skill center last meeting.
Okay, I didn't know that.
The old one?
Yeah.
The old.
Yeah, the old one, not the,
The old
the
one.
old one.
The one we're
Yeah.
gonna use, okay.
Old one. Yeah,
Verify it.
the one he's getting rid of. Yeah.
So we can
Yeah.
handle it. All right, okay, first, MVH. Remember at the start of COVID, we were in April, May, we thought we were gonna lose 5 to 15% for the year. State told us to expect 10%. We had some good news last month. In August, our MVH and LRS distributions matched last year. In fact, LRS was a little higher. Now August is, because of the formula, we get a little less money in August. But it was good news to match. We're down a little, almost just under 7% on MVH and about 5.5% on LRS. If we get our normal amounts for the next 4 months, that will be we'll be down about 4.41% for MVH and 3.4% on LRS, which is really good news because we really expected 5 to 15. So that will help us. And we'll continue to monitor that, but the green is the gas tax ones and the red are the effects of the shutdown. All right, on the roadways, we actually had a pretty productive month this month. We got 30 miles done. Most of those were chip seals. Last month they said we were hoping to get 85 miles done for the year. We're just at 80, about 2 feet less than 88 miles right now. So that was a better month than we expected. We could complete as much as 50 more miles, but I would say always put a caveat on that because 3 pieces of equipment could go down tomorrow, we could be done. But production has been good. We can get up to 138 miles. I don't think this has ever been done over 100 miles with the highway department. If you remember, 50 miles a year maintains our Paisley rating. So we went to the training last year about the Paisley rating and how they rate the roads. It takes about 50 miles of average road improvements to maintain that. If we get to 138, our Paisley rating, which we'll be doing again in October, should be a lot higher. So that's good news for the county. And it helps in a lot of ways. It helps with grants. That's why we've been successful at grants. They see our program working, so we get more money. Some of that higher totals are the glad news we got from the NDOT projects, but we've also been able to complete 5 different types of road improvements. We've been in the asset management classes, a mix of fixes, putting the right fix on the right road at the right time is the best way to do it, and we are trying to do that. If you look at the second page, it shows you what we've done so far for each type of improvement and what we have planned for this next month and early October. If we get it all done, like the last couple months have done well, we'll get that higher total, but I'm guessing we'll probably be right around 100 somewhere, hopefully a little bit over. Like I said, I don't think that's ever been done.
Now, when we do these miles, we always get complaints. The more work you do, the more complaints. Now, last year I spoke about that a little bit, when we were the road selection. You know, why did you choose my road? And we talked about that and how to answer that. This year, I'll talk about some of the complaints we get about each type of road improvement. Hot mix, the road looks rough. There's a drop off of my driveway. Intersections are rough and don't match the roadways. Almost all of those are because people don't realize that it takes about 3 or 4 weeks to really do the project. Even though you can be riding on the road, we do the leveling course, then a binder course, then the finishing course. And those binding course and the finishing course is on there usually for about a week and a half. So people ride on that and think it looks bad, and then we get complaints about that. We got complaints today about 250 more people with their driveways dropping off. And we had to explain to them they haven't done the shoulder work yet. And one of the intersections are a little rough to get on, and that's the same thing. Those get done later. Then we do the final inspection. Now we're going to do the final inspection for those Range Road and 250 North when 250 North is done. And if either one of you want to go with me on that, we're done to see how that's done and how we do that and kind of the quality control. We don't sign any of the final checks until that happens. So we'll be doing that in probably about a week and a half. Cold mix. The road is soft and there are divots in my driveway, or near my driveway. And why are you chip sealing over the cold mix roads you paved over last year? I think we've explained a lot that cold mix is cheaper, but it's more permeable to water. It takes longer to set. Once you chip seal it, it's about 1/3 the cost of a hot mix road, so we can do more that way. Then we kind of combine that. We've been a little less cold mix, but we still do it, in conjunction with our hot mix truck routes. Chip seal. Chips are damaging my car. There's stone in my yard. There's oil in my yard. Chip sealing is terrible. Why did you gravel my road? Those are the main complaints. Chip seal is an easy, inexpensive way to do a road. It's about $5,500 a mile. Unfortunately, it does have its drawbacks. Although people often complain about the broken windshields and chip paint, we have not had a tort claim for a broken windshield or chip paint in 7 years. So we don't really see that happening. Although they complain about it a lot. Oil and stone can end up in the yard. We try to be careful with the oil. If too much stone gets in the yard, we will go back and rake that. That usually happens in subdivisions more than anything else. Chip seal is not nearly as nice as hot mix, but to hot mix the entire county would cost about $250 million and take 175 years to do under our current budget. So you get your road paved once every 175 years, and I don't think people would really want that. So we kind of have to do that because of the size of the budgets. Good news about some chip sealing, though, if you've seen on Total Road, that's already compacted. And that looks pretty, it's better on those highly traveled roads.
Yeah.
The subdivisions take a little bit longer. Crack seal. What are those black lines in the road? Tar from your crack seals on my tire. A lot of people don't understand what crack sealing is. It's keeping the water out. It's very cheap. We do it mostly on hot mix roads. It's a very effective way to do things. And you've probably seen that on all our hot mix roads, and it really keeps them together. You don't see many potholes because of that. And as long as you put the crack seal in right, you don't get any problems with the tires. We've never had any. Steve said some when it comes out. You've probably seen that before the crack seal comes out. We use a little bit more expensive sealant, but it works.
Got a question?
Yes.
I know it's Total Road. I went down there right after you did it. And you got a new sweeper or something?
Yes.
It did a great job.
Yes. Yes.
The rocks weren't flying.
One sweeper was going down, so we rented one. Now, remember, we were going to buy a distributor this year and put that up next year. Now we rented a sweeper with an option to buy it. We're probably going to buy it.
That was
really
great.
doing well.
Because
And another thing that helps is that we're using the 2 rollers now. Remember, we bought the second river tire roller? Now, once we get the new distributor next year, that'll be even better. So our chip sealing is improving, and we have new operators, and they're getting better at it every day.
whatever you do, thank you.
Yep, we're happy with it. All right, and the reshaping and the grindings of the gravel road, some people think because of the grindings, they're actually asphalt pavement. They're not. It's just grindings, very similar to gravel roads. And they always complain about chip sealing the road and paving. The grindings have been working. If you've seen some of the roads 200 East and 300 East, it works. And we actually chip sealed over a section of 300 East between 250 North and 300 North. And it came out really good. One of the problems we've had with chip sealing over gravel roads is a base. And that's providing a good base. So we may be chip sealing over more of those roads. And it's really working out. We're going to do about 10 more miles of the grindings and probably chip seal over those next year. That'll be a good thing. All right. The rest of the year, we're going to be culvert cleaning, culvert replacements, phaser ratings, gravel road ratings, which are just about completed. That's what the last one, we have a new way of doing that. Crack seal, CMA paving, we have about 5 or 6 miles of culverts left. Chip sealing and grinding, so we have a lot of work to do. If you had asked me in May, I said we would have ran out of money way before we ran out of time and weather. Time and weather is gonna be a problem now. We're not gonna run out of money, so that's a good thing. I never would have expected that in May. We looked at. The next one, those are the greens of the chip seal roads we've done so far. And the other ones are the ones that are on the list to do yet. We are not chip sealing tomorrow because of weather. Hopefully we'll be able to do it on Thursday. We're ending our chip sealing at the end of next week. So hopefully we get all these roads in. If everything goes pretty well, we should be able to do that. And that's a lot more than I expected at the beginning of the year. Mowing, brush cutting, we're ending the part-timers now. Francis Tibbs is gonna start
meeting.
mowing. Every year he does the last pass of the
I
county.
had to zoom it or mute it before I.
We'll be starting that once we're done with the road improvements, and then he'll get the tractor and start doing that. And that really helps for the next year. This morning, Joe Lessig from North Judson called me and asked if we could do their mowing next year. When I first heard that, I said, well, there's no way we can do that. There's a lot. But he told me that they only have 2 or 3 miles that they mow twice a year. And I asked him to give me the roads that they do, how many times they need to do it. And then I will talk to you guys. If you approve it, then I'll give him costs and things. But I need more information from him and he'll be providing that. We do like helping the towns, but we don't like helping the towns to the detriment of the county. Because, we have helped before and there's some other things.
But they're gonna pay you for.
Oh, yes, they
equipment
would,
and-
yes, reimburse for the, yes. And then we have an agreement, the commissioners will vote on it, North Judson will vote on it. It's like we did the paving with Hamlin. Similar thing. So we'll look into that and see if that works. We don't want it to the detriment of us.
Sorry.
The next one I just have in here to get into the record, the last emergency planning commission meeting with Jay Nyer. And we spoke about the coordination between departments and tree call outs and things. We had that one, the storm, we went out a lot. So we just kind of wrote down our procedures of what happens when a tree goes down. When there's a lot of trees, we move the operations to the highway department. We overnight, and we've done that a couple times the last few years. But this just basically outlines what we do. And we're going to coordinate more with the fire departments. The dispatch has been great, by the way. They really help us out a lot. So we're able to get the trees off pretty quickly with their help, and then we can even get better. So we're just going to write down our procedures and kind of mix it together. The bridge conditions are the same. We've got 3 in development. Nothing really changed with that. Bridge inspections, our phase 2 are starting now. United consultants are doing those. As soon as we get those, we'll let you know. We should be good when we're going to get that. Culverts basically the same as last month. We're going to get to the culverts in early October. We've got probably about 8 more to do, but I think we may even have more than that. I'd like to get them done if we get good weather and can get some things done. Updated county map. I don't know if you remember, but earlier this year we were working on updating this, and our initial findings, there were 377 concerns, questions, and anomalies found in our 2007 map. Mary and I have been doing a lot of work. We finally finished going through every one of those. Now, 91 of those are in that inventory changes. We have a couple roads that are not in their inventory that we maintain, and vice versa. That really doesn't affect the map, but once we get that cleaned up, we'll probably get about 10 more miles that we get paid for, which is, as you know, we've gone through the years as we find things, we do it, but we never systematically went through the map and did this. Now we have, and Mary's going to prepare all 91 changes, and we'll see those. We'll present you with those, vote on them, and then we send them out to the state. That will help clean up everything. There's 96 changes need to be made on the map. Most of those are like street instead of avenue. There's not very many major ones. There's probably 10 major changes where roads exist on the map or they're real life and vice versa too. 17 of those are both in dot and map changes. And we have a couple roads that need to be named, and you guys will have to do that, and I will bring that up later once we get that all checked. There's 34 questions I need to check. I'll be doing that tomorrow and the next day. By the time I get to the next meeting, we'll have contacted Rhonda Milner, and we're ready to get the map done. My guess is going to be done by the end of the year, which will be a good thing. It's been 13 years since it's been updated, and there were a lot of mistakes on that old map. We're going to coordinate with Knox also. There's been a lot of, 300 East, there's county roads, cities and counties, and it really doesn't make sense. We're going to sit down with them. We have about 8 questions around there and really get that hammered out. And I think Dennis is ready to do that too. And I think that'll be resolved.
300. Generally, we got to do it for truck drivers. It's 300 from Total Road roads.
Yes, yeah, yeah. No, and if you look,
It's gonna have to be done sooner.
I was gonna bring up because I'm gonna get to a grant opportunity with it, and I brought the map here, but I'm not gonna use that tonight because things are just right on there. No, I agree with that, and that is in our plans. If you look on the map over there, that is in the plans to get that done.
We're gonna get the truck drivers into the industrial park somehow.
Now, one good thing is,
You can't run them all the way out to 8 or
one of the problems has been that hill, but the grant opportunity that just came out the other day. Toto Road is a major collector, and you can only use that grant money on major collectors. We only have about 4 roads that are major collectors in the county. And Toto Road is one of them, so that's one of the projects we may be able to do that with. So I'm gonna look into that. That might be a good thing. So, next, office changes. We created the asset management position last year. We didn't quite have the right person in it. We found that out quickly and changed to Mary, and we now have a very good office clerk as well. And things we wanted to do before, we're moving over to the Roadsoft asset management system. It basically does everything that we're doing. It makes it a lot easier instead of us doing a lot of the work by hand and on Excel sheets. We've had this software for a while. Now we're able to use it because Mary's moving forward with that. APWA certification is a big thing. That's why we've been doing all these policies and heavy vote on the policies, so we can put that in there and get the certification. We would be the first small county in the Midwest to get that. That would be a good thing. A lot of big cities have it, a lot of big counties have it, but a few small towns now have it. They've been doing that. And that helps with grant money too. Once they know you're certified, you will get grants pretty much every time. So that really helps. Recently, I don't know if you remember, neither one of you was on board, but in 2015, we worked with the economic development to do a 5-year road and bridge plan. We had some projects, they had some projects, we completed all those projects, mainly and more. We started the hot mix route after that because we've been able to get these grants. And this organization, the asset management, once they see that, they know we have a plan. That's the biggest thing we're doing. If you have a plan and you know what you're doing, they'll give you more money. And as you've seen that last year, we've gotten a lot of money that way. We're also working on a website. The park board is working on one, but we're working on one for us. Bill has one at the sheriff's department. It works well. Other highway departments have them. You can put all your policies on there. They're kind of hard to find on our site because there's so many things on the county site. When you have a highway site, people can find that and get to that information a little bit easier. INDOT call for projects. I mentioned that a little bit ago. The applications start on November 2nd and they go through December 11th. I was going to go through our hot mix plan today, but I read that there are more restrictions than I thought on that grant as I was sitting back there. So I'm going to go through that in the next meeting. I can present some projects to you and see which ones we want to go forward with on that application. We've been pretty successful lately, but I think we will be again. This is not community crossings grants. They're not as easy to get. They're like the bridge grant, the one where I had to go up and present for that last year. We got that for the one at the industrial park. This is the same type of grant. Sourcewell, we voted on it last month and it's actually provided more savings than we thought. I had Mary go through our existing contracts to see if any more are Sourcewell. And our GPS actually through Sourcewell is 50% less. And they're changing that contract and that's going to save us $10,000 a year. So it makes it worthwhile to do that. Also AT&T savings, about 25% or $500 a year. That can go to all the departments. We'll be working with Rachel to get that out to them. So anybody on the AT&T plan with the Sourcewell can get 25% off their bill. And that's already helped. And we also saved, remember we ordered a truck. It was $162,000 in the lowest bid, but Sourcewell was $153,000, so that saved $9,000. So just in 1 month, we haven't even reviewed all our contracts yet. We've saved $19,500. 10,500 of which are annual savings, so that's going to be a really good thing. That Sourcewell, now vendors catch up to these things and they find ways around it eventually, but we have to keep up ahead of them too. So right now we're in pretty good shape with those things. Carrie mentioned the simulator training sometime in October. We're setting that up. We'll have it at the garage. If you guys want to come and do that, it's kind of fun actually. Do that. We also LTAP is coming to give us a snowplow training at the garage. Be one of the first ones they've done since they shut down. Everybody has to wear masks and stay apart, but LTAP will be coming and doing that. So we're getting back into training. One of the difficult things this summer is we've had to do all our training from the on-job training. And we've missed having Mark Ennis come down and having LTAP come down. They really do help. All right, next page. Engine and Jake brakes noise ordinance. There are 2 things you want me to look at next from last month when we spoke about it. One was the, how much were the decibel monitors? They're about $200 each. So we have to get those and supply those to the sheriff's department. And that's part of the enforcement. There is some flexibility in sign placement. Remember we were talking about, you just put on in CMP, I think they'll allow us to pretty much put it farther away. So that's a good thing. The question is now is, North doesn't, I thought, have, they do not. It's a noise ordinance. It's not a Jake Breaks ordinance. They have a noise ordinance, but it does not pertain to this. I thought they did.
Yeah,
Because they had talked about it in 2017, but there's some, because of the monitors and some other things, the enforcement is difficult. And that's a problem. Now, right now, I kind of need to know if you guys want to go forward with this, because I got to work with Marty and Bill Dewan to kind of come up with an ordinance for this. And basically, it's a noise ordinance, and we have to come up with the decibels, and we can do that. Probably there are other communities that have these ordinances, and we can use those to do this. But the question is, do we move forward to do this? Because it'll take about probably 2 weeks to a month to get that together. Now, NDOT is not for these ordinances. They think Jake Breaks actually kind of a good thing, but communities, they don't live in those communities. They have to either. And this is she was the original petitioner for that. So,
I see plus and minuses with it.
Yeah, it's very hard to enforce.
it is hard to
Yes,
enforce.
very
That's been a
hard.
problem, yes. It's easier.
It's a cowboy truck driver that use that, that's made for out in the mountains, not running flat.
Right, and I agree with that. It's easier to enforce in a town than it is in a county. You basically have to be with them with the monitor and that, you have to get them calibrated. Although, on the other hand, if I lived there, I'd probably want them, so I understand both sides.
Do you have something, Brand?
Yeah, if we're not gonna enforce it, there's no sense in having notice.
I don't
And I don't think they're gonna enforce it.
know how we can enforce it.
Right. Unless you have somebody sitting there with the noise meter or whatever.
Yeah, that's what you have to do. You have to do that.
And we could put signs up and say no Jake Breaks, but
Well, you can't put those on the state road unless you have this ordinance. The only reason, the way they'll let you put them on the state road is if you put the noise ordinance in effect. And it can't be a Jake Break sign either. It has to say noise ordinance.
So, most people won't even pay.
because to me, it's as enforceable as the no truck signs that the trucks keep driving right
Yeah.
past, one after another.
Does it have to be an officer with that machine?
Yeah, yes, sir.
I can do it.
Yeah, it has to be an officer, yes.
Don't get me wrong, I feel your pain.
Well, I'm not the only one. I've got other people within the town that are retired here and I'm buzzing through. I've got some, that's this, we don't know that, that's another subject. But there's all the way down south on 421 and all the way to the other end of town to Route 10. So it's even beyond Route 10 east and west. But primarily, once they make that turn or they're coming down south, heading north, right when they get to Our Lady, the old Our Lady, Tierney Park, they've got that thing going and it's all the way through town. And you hear them going all the way through town. It's all fine and good. I'm not in favor of Jake Break, but something either has to be done with the amount of speed that they're coming through the town with, or there has to be some kind of an ordinance to stop them. And we have to get some kind of a periodic supervising done out there. Because they're either running up on the back end of people, driving down at 35 miles an hour, and I will force people, when I pull out, I will force people to do 35 miles an hour down through town. Because they're coming, and I see them barreling down from 10, and when I pull out, I say, okay, you're gonna go the speed limit, and I make them do the speed limit. And even if I'm not going all the way through town, I'll go just to force them to do the speed limit. It's just that, and they know no one's around, so they're just gonna continue to do it. They're just speeding through town. And it's not only trucks, it's cars too. But you hear the trucks.
Right. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest deal is the speeding. That's where it leads to using the brake.
Yeah.
That's right. But I some of them truck drivers don't realize that that's harder than the rear end of the truck and everything. You're out using truck.
And they run that path all the time. They know what the speed limit is, and they still push beyond that. It's like, it's crazy.
We're never gonna solve all the world's
Oh, I
problems.
know,
you know?
just solve that problem. That's all I care about. Give me a meter or something, and get a ticket book. Real good.
Right, as far as the speed limit goes through there, is there any, like, that's through the state,
Right.
Is there any way to bring up, because that, as per, we've had a ton of the cat.
I think the speed limit there is 35, right?
Yeah,
They can't go any lower on that highway
On
than
that.
35 miles an hour unless it's not residential. There are other rules for that. But I don't think right there they can go below 35. I can make that request and make you cool. He's a traffic director. I know him well. He's my old boss. They're not. I can ask him if they can do something. If there's anything else they can do.
Can they push the 35 mile an hour back further south and further?
We've requested things like that before. When
Okay.
the new jail was built, they moved speed limits then too. So we can ask them.
Okay,
That might be something. Be a better possibility to do that.
Sometimes they can come up with things that we didn't think of, and I will bring that up to them, and I'll CC you guys on that. so you know.
Actually, you live in Sanford?
yes.
Actually, if you live in Sanford, what do you think the speed limit should be?
30 through town. Once you make the turn from 10 either direction, or you're coming down, traveling north on 421, right at 10, it should designate 35 miles an hour. And when they get into the town area, not actual town, once they hit the old Our Lady or Tierney Park, it should be 30, because then you're going through town at that point, through all the residents, and then down to Dooley's is where it should be up to 30, and then go on to 35, 40, 45, and 55. It's right after Dooley's, it's bounced up to 55. So they're picking up the speed to finish going through the rest of the town to hit the 55 mile mark to go on down north on 421. And I remember years back, they had tried to straighten that curve out, and the state was there, and they were PO'd because so many of the town members showed up to not allow that to be straightened out, because then they'd really have a road race going through there, cars and trucks alike. So that's where we're at. If they can't do the ordinance, then let's see if we can get the speed limits changed, get a cop out there, periodically to start forcing them to slow down. If that don't work, give me a line and a ticket. Stop it.
I'll make a request to the guys to see what they
Yeah,
can do.
checking.
They're usually pretty good and pretty responsive.
Okay.
And more roadway safety next. We have 2 intersections that we've had waiting for Purdue to do investigations on. First one is 700 East and 200 North. There have been 3 accidents there over the last year and a half. They did not recommend a 4-way stop. I'm going to talk to Laura Slusser. She's the engineer who did the report and knew her pretty well. I disagree with some of her things about the traffic volume and do more, put our boxes back up, because I think we may have put them on a low day, because 700 East gets more than 400 a day, but when we had our last one, it did.
I think it needs 4.
Yeah, I do too, but problem is, with putting a 4-way stop, when the engineer says no, that can be a problem legally. You can still do it, you guys would have to vote on it, but I'm going to talk to her and ask about it, and I'll bring that up in the next meeting, because we just got this report a couple days ago. I have not had a chance to talk
I
to
think
her.
it needs one.
I agree with that. Now, there is a problem with putting 4-way stops where you have a 2-way stop, because it usually causes more accidents.
Right, until they get used to it.
Yes, that's right. And that's a problem too. I will talk to her about this. I have not had a chance to do that. The other one is 100 East and 500 South. We had a request for there. That one, actually, they said we could put a 4-way stop in because of the site distance that we wanted to do. That one we probably will do. I'm going to review this and talk to Laura a little bit more about it, and I will bring both these up either next meeting or next monthly meeting and do that. But yes, I agree with you on the one thing. I'm going to check some of the things that she did. Talk to her about that. She's usually pretty minimal, so she would be. Do that. US 30 Coalition, there's a meeting Friday, basically we're gonna wait, watch and see, I'm gonna attend the meeting. Just gonna sit there and see what's going on, basically, see if I can news as you know, right? That is it, is there any questions?
No. It was a US 30 thing, you know what?
Yes.
We're now gonna get a Dollar General over in Hamilton.
Well, I agree
Because
with
we're not doing all this stuff.
I'm gonna keep attending the meetings until they tell me not to.
You know
Just
what?
telling we're there and going to the.
Waterfall and all them doing that stuff. We're not gonna make a little money off this.
And they are going ahead with the intersection of 30 and 23s. The first stage was done, and they're going to the second stage plan as well. I'll keep you guys updated on that. Right?
All right, thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Then we got the solid waste, CARES funding. Is Carrie on there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We're requesting a camera system through the CARES Act. Would cost $1,275.95. The system would help the staff to be able to view what is going on out in the recycling yard. It would help us that we wouldn't have to go out and meet with the public, be face to face with them.
Who was that through?
Pardon, it is through, Richard would be putting it in. The camera system is I believe he said it is a Western Digital system. There would be 4 cameras, and everything is warranted for 3 years. It would include a screen that would be mounted in the office that we could view, because right now you've been in my office and there is no window besides the door that faces to the east where all the recycling bins are. When the office first opened, I went and got one of the gate alarms. So we do know when somebody pulls in by this gate alarm, but other than if we didn't have the gate alarm, you wouldn't even know if anybody was out in the yard. So the system would allow us to view residents coming in and also what they would be putting into the recycling bin.
I'd be fine with that. Since we just have to make a motion.
$1,225. Is there another cent to that?
95 cents.
95 cents. I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye. Yes, Rachel.
I would just make sure that Richard has a conflict of interest form filed with the clerk's office, if he's gonna be doing it.
Yeah, because I know they wanted me to do that on my own time.
Yeah, yeah.
Just so people understand, that doesn't mean it's a problem. That means he's disclosing so that then everybody would be aware.
Yeah. Is that all you have, Carrie?
Yeah, what was the last you said when you were talking, when Rachel talked?
Oh, that was for Richard, non-disclosure,
Yeah,
not conflict of interest form. He's got a file, but that's nothing with you.
Yeah, it doesn't involve you. It's just because he's doing this on his own and he's a county employee.
Oh, okay, okay,
It's not a problem.
okay. Thank you,
Thanks, Carrie.
thank you.
Mandy?
I'm here. I had gotten you guys a quote that I didn't have at the last meeting. I had emailed it.
Like a 50 year.
get another quote?
I did not get another quote, however, he said it would take too long, the way they had to do a formal quote for it. So if we did half the project, which would be 32 years, which would put us back 69 years, that's what we would have digitally on the computer. That would be $34,550.
34,000.
That was basically just splitting that in half.
If we go back 69.
Yeah, well, we are 37 years back right now. That was just 32 years further. So we would be a total of 69 years on the computer.
So instead of 79,000, we'd be back to 34.
34
It would be a whole lot better than 79. We need to cut.
No, correct. I
We really
understand
do.
that.
We need to cut.
And
I'm still getting more than what you got, you know, so,
Yes, we get a lot more.
yeah,
We
I think I'm fine with that.
make a motion.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Now, she originally asked for the scanning project and the indexing. The indexing was 10,000,
Yeah.
the scanning's 34,000. Are you approving both or?
No.
You got anything else on the indexing, or was that, I guess
Yeah.
that's just,
yeah, it is what it is. That was
Yeah.
just indexing the books that we already have scanned. So that way when we have the new scanning project, we would start from there indexing. Now, we've already indexed 7 years in the last 18 months. So we have gotten quite far, but due to COVID, I have 2 searchers in there right now from Illinois. They go home every weekend, they come back and are in my office Monday through Friday. So this would help that in person, they would, once we could get more on the computer, we'd have that last interaction.
We're trying to cut here.
No, I got it.
On your indexing,
Mhm.
in your budget, you have enough money to cover that.
Yes,
Right.
I would have.
Okay, so I would make that motion that you cover the indexing with your budget. The 34,500. Not the CARES Act anymore. Is it the CARES Act still or was it? It's still the CARES Act. Okay, it's the CARES Act.
that's your motion.
Getting lost, just my motion, I'm getting lost in all kinds of acts they got anymore.
I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Right.
We're gonna cover the 34,500 with the CARES Act, but the indexing she has to do with her own budget.
And I have a question Renee, about the conflict of interest form.
Right.
For Rachel and Louise, because they would like to be involved in that indexing project.
Right.
Which is beneficial to us, because then we have 2 people doing it that actually know what they're doing.
Yep.
So is that a form, do you have that? Or is it there?
Crooks
It's in
has
the
a copy, it's a simple form.
Okay, so they just go there and.
Just go there and ask for that, then fill it out. If you have a question, let me know, but I don't think you have to go find it somewhere.
Is that it?
Yep.
That's all for me.
Good, Brian? Yes.
Okay, thank you, Mandy.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to approve the vendor claims in the amount of $698,634.40? I'll make that motion. I'll second. All those in favor? Aye. there a motion to approve the payroll claims in the amount of $262,243.93. I'll second. All those in favor? Aye. The motion to approve this payroll claim. That's the latest one, $256,359.20. Second, all those in favor? Aye. Motion to approve the minutes from Monday, August 17th, 2020. Second, all those in favor? Aye.
And I do hate these masks. I did say I would comply with it. So I don't know.
It's just the hard copy needs signatures. GIS limited use agreement.
Well, I don't know. Just talk to Rachel, it ain't gonna cost us anything, it's not, I don't know, what do you think?
This was for that ECT, Environmental Consulting and Technology.
Kinda, aren't they kinda looking at the solar?
That's all.
Right, they're looking for, they're looking at, specifically, they're looking at drainage patterns, to determine the impact it might have on solar installations at those sites, whether there would be some limitations on their ability to install.
Because we could do a fee on that, right?
If you want to.
Right, you can charge for it or not. It's your call, I think, in this case.
What's the fee? Was it $750?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's either gonna benefit them or not.
Yeah, so, yeah. We can charge them a fee, but, you know, I mean, we're giving them information for nothing, otherwise.
Yeah, I think we should charge it early.
Okay. What do you think?
Make that motion, the charge fee of $750.
Okay, for a second. I'll make that motion.
I'll second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Don't sign that, I'll have WTH make up a new contract.
And then the broadband ready community certification. Guess Marty, you got it.
There was a request from a statement from the commissioners on this subject. And with your permission, I'll read that into the record.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. On behalf of the citizens of Stark County, Indiana, we're pleased to express our enthusiastic support for bringing the goals of the Broadband Ready Community Program to our towns, lake communities, and countryside. We've been informed that Stark County is now designated as an official Broadband Ready community, the first since the transition of this program from IEDC to OKRA. It's cause for celebration, but more than that, it's time to plan how we'll go from broadband ready to broadband enabled. In our 2019 Stellar Communities bid, we found that people here cherish the simple pleasures of our small town and rural lifestyle, but also recognize the urgent need to improve economic, social, and educational opportunities. The broadband readiness study funded by a 2018 IEDC grant showed that some of our more densely populated towns already have good broadband internet access, but much of our rural area is poorly served. That's a typical example of a digital divide, and we intend to close it. Broadband access throughout the county is needed to support modern agriculture, rural-based small businesses and creatives, and to provide all students, young and old, an equal opportunity to participate in the 21st century information economy. During COVID-19 closures, the critical need for broadband access to every home, farm, and business came to the fore. For many, broadband availability meant the difference between working or studying at home or being left behind. We're looking forward to working with the state of Indiana and public-private partnerships like KVREMC and existing internet service providers to take internet accessibility throughout Stark County to the next level. Please keep us informed about how best to achieve this important goal.
Good job.
I think the process here is looking for some grant money to help jumpstart this. And as we all know, KVREMC has an interesting project to kind of pair up, broadband access with their electrical service areas. And it's kind of a nice match because the areas that KVREMC tends to have the rural parts of the county, NIPSCO the more developed ones. And I think you'll find if you look at the maps, you'll see KVREMC is going to hit most of the parts of the county. And if you can get to the places where people have electricity, we don't need to get everywhere. We need to get to the places where there's electricity, right? Yeah. So it's a good natural partnership. I hope that will work out well.
Is that all we got on that? I guess that's all we got discussed on that. The meal deliveries.
Well, with the commissioners agreement, I've talked to all of you kind of over the past couple of weeks. We're running out of money, and after we kind of decided to end it this week, and all the vendors have been notified, the residents have been notified. After we pay out our bills this week, we'll have about $25,000 left in that fund. So you can.
There's one thing I gotta say. I'm glad we got something left. Just in case. Now, what if you do have somebody, a whole family, is quarantining? Which I ran into one. And I thank them so much. Because I called them, I says, and we pulled in, there's a motor home and everything else. And I'm thinking, we pull back to the driveway, I'm thinking, why am I doing it? You know what? We're quarantining, can you please put it on the porch? We will come out and get it when you get back to the truck to leave. They did, and I thank them for what they did. I don't want to go face to face with somebody that's got it. There are some families that are not supposed to leave their home. Not all just for me. If you got a home network, I know we're not supposed to know who they are.
No, that's a good idea. So Frank, when he gets
But these families, they can't get out, and I don't want them out on the public. They need to be taken care of somehow.
Oh, yeah, so when Frank gets the report, he'll check on each family and make sure that they have food or if they need anything. And Frank he has used some of this money. He'll go to Five Star himself and he'll buy groceries. Yeah, so we can, the remaining money that we can use I'll let Frank know
I'm
that he can
for
still
that.
use it for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember that.
So Thursday is our last day. It's gonna be one of our biggest days. We are gonna be delivering 297 hot meals, 151 boxes of groceries, and I'm gonna have 9 delivery drivers.
I quit.
8 delivery drivers. Charlie, you're up.
Yeah.
I already offered two loads on the truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Already two them.
I don't know. if they- Oh, no, I already approved that.
Oh,
Yeah, that's already approved.
I love it. I love taking care of it.
I know, what are you gonna do Monday and Thursday?
I know, I'm gonna go nuts. You're not retired. What do you want me to do? Marty, you got any extra work done?
Oh, my God.
You can make this handbook, you know, you can make this handbook project go away. Yeah,
So,
we are making progress on that, by the way. That's been one of the more difficult ones to bring home that I've run into.
Make sure that all them people.
Yep, Anita's already got the,
I've got a story written up for tomorrow.
I had-
It's ready to go.
I had so many people help me, it's unreal. Did not charge the county a dime and went out to help me deliver food. And there's no way you can do it by yourself. There is no way. You can't do
Story's
it.
ready to go for tomorrow morning.
I'm very proud of them people. Very proud.
so we got on the meal deliveries then? Payroll tax.
so with what the president put in place or whatever, the county needs to either opt in or opt out of that program. So what it is, starting September 1st, county employees, if you were to opt in the program, they would not be paying their federal taxes. Now, up till January 1st. Now, on January 1st, they would have to start repaying from September 1st to December 31st. If that county employee were to leave before they could complete their repayment or begin their repayment, the county would have to repay their taxes. Most counties this has been a talk amongst the auditors, most counties are opting out of this. The county would continue to pay their own federal taxes on our employees, but this is just like an employee thing. But I would like you to opt out because it is a lot of additional work and
I'd say.
Make that motion.
I make a motion to opt out.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Annex 1 and 2 ceiling quotes. This Jim got 'em. This one was from. Who was this one from? The first. bid?
the Country Strong Scott Lehigh,
Okay.
it's $2,900 total.
Yeah, and then West Jensen is 2,465.
That's 20.
Yeah. What did we use last time?
Less.
Disco and
Yeah, I make a motion to use West Junction for your fuel fund.
for the amount of 240 or $2,465. I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye. Holiday, the 2021 holiday schedule. It's pretty much the same every year,
Yeah,
right?
the election, there's no election next year, so we
Yeah,
didn't get those
That's,
days.
yeah. But otherwise, it's the same. Make a motion and move that.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. All those in favor, aye. Anything else, Brian? Marty, you got anything? Rachel? Anyone else have anything?
I do have one thing I forgot to ask. We have copies of some of the plat maps and stuff. And I had reached out to the Historical Society to see if they would want them, they're not permanent records, they're just copies. And I was just wondering if it was okay to donate them to the Historical Society.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Would it? Should we make a motion with it? Make a motion. I'll second. All those in favor, aye. Anyone else? Motion adjourned.
I was about getting that stuff.
I don't have nothing.